Alrighty then. Let us continue. Guys, look, check out all these local event ads. Our charity flyers, too. I suppose that's par for the course in well-to-do areas like this. Yes, that's true. It might also have to do with the chapel being nearby. Anyway, not that we'd find any here, but I don't spot any 4 SPGs on the front side. I mean, yeah, that's no surprise. If there are any, they'd be on the back. And we got Bupkis. This side's clean as a spring breeze. I was afraid of that. It's been a hot minute since I had a request here. I think the last time was... Hey, what's that? A little scrap of paper. Looks like it was torn off. Perhaps a request or something of the sort was placed there and then removed sometime later. Yeah, probably, and it must have happened pretty recently. Not even a speck of dirt on it, and I don't see any sign of it being rained on. Okay, did it rain in this part of the city recently? Are we expecting dirt on that tiny little piece of paper? There was a huge downpour this past weekend, and the board would have been sopping wet. Yes, I see what you mean. It did rain quite a bit then, as I recall. Which means it could have only been posted for 3 or 4 days at most before it was removed. Right, so let's put our thinking caps on. Using a little creative deduction, this scrap of paper was most likely part of... it could literally be anything. It could literally be anything. Yep, that's my theory too. Picture this, a person needs help with something they can't bring to the police or the guild. They aren't used to dealing with the shady types like me, but after hearing rumors about this 4 SPG thing, they go out on a limb and put one up. They wait 2 or 3 days, see no one's responding to it, then give up and tear it down before someone else sees it. Seems like a plausible turn of events, don't you think? Got all that from a tiny scrap of paper? Well, he's just saying it's one possibility, but it is a convincing hypothesis nonetheless. I hate it when he makes sense, especially when he looks so smug about it. Okay, Epstein. How does that tie into everything else? What makes you think I know the answer to that? And here I thought you had it all figured out. Silly me. While we may not know the details, I think we can be fairly certain something unusual is brewing under this surface. Okay. I don't think we can be fairly certain about that. There was one tiny scrap of paper. Okay. Y'all are making a mountain out of a molehill, as I've been hearing a lot lately out of this issue. Or at the very least, this makes that conclusion seem that much more likely. The probability's definitely gone up. Can't make a definite call yet, but knowing that something fishy might be going on is still good intel. Doesn't your risk management AI or whatever's logic work in a similar way? Yes, although I'm certainly no expert on the subject. As I understand it, the system aggregates a vast number of risk factors, then calculates a threat level based on that. Why are you randomly talking about Marduk's AI? I'm... See, now Marduk's AI's gotta be on the radar. Perhaps we could borrow a page from their book, take one lead and combine it with others, and the path forward may make itself known. We could consider making that our investigation's opening gambit. Thinking about it in that way just reminds me of that stupid Go game Gien and Sao like playing. So in summary, we just have to keep our eyes peeled and collect data, and then the bigger picture will eventually come into focus. Were you able to follow all that, Fairy? Oh, I guess it's kind of like when we use multiple artillery observers to spot snipers. They like to move around a bunch, so we have to be super in sync to neutralize them. Oh, that makes sense. Sometimes I worry we raised this girl all wrong. You didn't raise the girl at all. Alright, I think we can call it there. I'm getting a real unusual whiff of something from all this, including that scrap of paper. If you're ready, are we good to head to my house now? Just a heads up, I can't do much more than make some sandwiches for everyone. So, you know, yesterday, which was still the same day in the game, you were like, oh, I have leftovers and I can make food for everybody with some tea or something like that. And the other option was restaurant quality food. And now, after everything is said and done, you're like, oh, I can just make sandwiches. You suck a fool. Oh, that's more than enough. Oh my goodness. If I was in this party, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Sandwiches? Are they gourmet sandwiches? You got some grilled chicken on them sandwiches or something like that? My goodness. I bet you got the ghetto bread too. Bread's probably like 3 days stale. Be like, oh yeah, it's our famous crunchy bread, you sucker fool. You guys are gonna love Agnes's sandwiches. She gave me one the other day and it was so good. If you'd like, I would be happy to help in preparing the tea and coffee. And I'd be happy to help myself to his vintage wines. Oh no you don't, not on the clock, buster. If the opportunity were to present itself, he seems like a fun lad to be sharing a few drinks with. Master Beauregard, you say some really scary stuff sometimes, you know that? Fairy who invited you? Fairy is definitely the black sheep. Oh, there's another gato right here. Oh, it's definitely not alive. Somebody should probably tell somebody about that.
Watch out for the cars, okay?
Whoa! Your house is gorgeous, Agnes!
The building itself seems pretty old, but it's been maintained with love and care.
I'm glad you think so.
Huh. Looks like a completely different place in the daytime.
Huh?
What the? Hey! Aren't you?
Alphonse? Where did you come from?
Aw, nice pupper you got there.
I didn't know you were a dog owner, Agnes.
I remember her mentioning she had one. But wait, I thought he was kept at the official residence.
Down, boy. It's impolite to jump on people.
What are you doing here?
Dad? What are you doing here?
We hadn't realized you were home, Mr. President.
What a pleasant surprise. Our apologies for showing up without invitation.
Please, no apologies needed. It's an honor and a privilege to welcome such esteemed guests into my humble home. As for why I'm here, I happen to have some downtime, so I thought I'd take Alphonse for a walk. I'm surprised to see you back in the thick of it so soon after your trip to Orid. That kind of diligence really is admirable. But perhaps a rest now and again would do you well. You ought to show yourself the same care that you do my daughter.
Dad. Come on, Alphonse. Be good.
Of course you know about what we were up to. A little surprised you're still keeping your ears to the ground, Mr. Prez. Thought your eyes were set on the stars.
Alright, you thought you were being clever there, Van. And you were being clever. And I'll give you clever points. But still a sucker. So you're saying the second phase being moved up was in the cards from the get-go, huh? Why is the president talking to us about this right now?
That's right. We didn't know what kind of issues would come up, so we added quite a bit of buffer time to the schedule. Mostly to give us time to recover if we hit any particularly bad setbacks. However, thanks to the efforts of Professor Cronkite, Esmere, and the other researchers at Verne, that extra time proved unnecessary. Marduk's control system was also finished early, so we were able to move the schedule forward significantly.
I did hear Yang, Essie, and Mr. Giscard were at the base, but I hadn't realized they were so involved in the project. Though my department wasn't involved in the plan, I'm happy to hear that we've been able to live up to your expectations. By the way, there's something I've been wondering ever since I saw the stream of the second launch. I'm guessing you're planning to use an assault frame in place of that blocky dummy unit, right? But there's no way they weigh the same, so how the heck's that gonna work? Seems like your foolproof plan has a massive hole in it. Tactless Aaron strikes again. Seriously, you take as blunt as a hammer to a whole new level.
Don't worry, no offense taken. And as for the mech, we don't intend to use the land-based Zycrease model for this project. What we will be using, however, you'll have to wait until the day of the launch to see.
I feel like this is just really awkward. You know, we're just like, hey, let's go to Agnes's house. And then Gramhart just happens to be there. And now he's just like, let me tell you all about my space program, you know? Wouldn't you love to hear about my space program? It's like, we just came here to eat some of Agnes's stale and leftover sandwiches. In other words, you and your trench monkeys have a new toy in the works. If that's true, then I'm guessing you're already in the middle of testing it, aren't you? No doubt you'd want to make sure it can handle any situation thrown its way in the vacuum of space. You know, I feel like they would have done that, I don't know, before they even started the whole thing. There's no point in testing to see if a rocket can go to space if the contents of said rocket couldn't even survive space somehow. You know, you probably want to solve the what do we do in space and how do we survive in space part pretty quickly before you worry about the, hey, how do we get to space? Especially if you already know what to expect in space. Or rather, not how do we get to space, but how do we send this thing up into space? Just saying, order of operations there seems a little backwards. You always need to see what game is playing because Twitch just says the legend of in the sidebar, and 99% of the time it's Zelda. I don't think there are any Zelda games on my horizon, so I typically only play one game at a time. Rare exceptions, like, you know, Saturday, for example, I played a co-op game, but yeah, but I understand. I see, then that means...
I understand your curiosity given what you experienced at Marduk headquarters, but I'll have to leave the rest to your imagination. Although I will say this, your name did come up as a viable test candidate.
Wait, what? You mean Van's able to fly around in that giant robot?
Yes, that's right. It's simple enough that even I could pilot one, so I imagine it would be child's play for one of Marduk's testers. If you'd like, I could have Kincaid talk with the General about making you a pilot. Perhaps we could put out one of your 4 SPGs and categorize it as unofficial outsourcing.
This is some kind of joke. I ain't laughing. Dad, please, you really shouldn't tease about that sort of thing.
What? Just because I'm the president of a nation doesn't mean I can't kid around? That said, I still meant every word.
Which one is it then? Are you joking or not? This freaking guy. Oh dear, Van's completely at his mercy. Like I said earlier, he sure knows how to command a room. A challenge untrodden by mankind. It'd be dishonest to say I wasn't looking forward to this. You seem to be going to great pains to ensure there will be no interference from terrorists and criminal organizations.
Great pains would be an understatement, believe me. Part of the reason I made that pact with the Society in the first place was to reduce the amount of external threats we might face.
Oh. I'm assuming people know about the pact because he's just referencing the pact in the sense of like, yeah, it's public knowledge, or at least public knowledge to you guys. Granted, it's been forever. I have to keep saying that as a disclaimer, but I don't remember that ever coming to light. You know, was Campanella around at some point and he was just like, hey, you know, we signed an agreement. And I just wanted to remind you of that in public to all of Calvardian citizens.
Oh, and by the way, I would thank you to remember our agreement. Do not overstep your bounds.
Okay. So he just blabbed it at the top of his lungs.
Well, our little pact was just about over anyway, which means things will start to heat up soon.
So he talked about an agreement, but there were no details about the agreement, maybe? Seems your reputation precedes you, Mr. President. Also, again, it's been a long time, but I feel like the agreement was more of a threat. And Ouroboros not necessarily agreeing to it, but more of a, oh yeah, you go do whatever it is you want to do. We don't have any interest in that. I'd have to go rewatch the scene again. But, you know, it's just me. Memory is all messed up. It seems your reputation precedes you, Mr. President. You're everything the man that Mr. Rocksmith claims you to be. I'd heard many a thing about you before you entered the political arena, but I'm delighted to make your acquaintance at last.
No, the pleasure is all mine, Mr. Zeman. You've done much for not only Calvard, but the entire continent as well. I'd be all too happy to have a little tete-a-tete with you in the near future. We should arrange an outing together with Mr. Rocksmith.
Is that how you pronounce that? Tete-a-tete? There's no funny business with that? Tete-a-tete? He basically said, you stay away from my plans, I turn a blind eye to you, and don't chase you down. Yeah, that's that sounds to me, you know, based off of that text right there, a threat to them rather than, you know, hey, I got a proposition for you. You know, a little two-way street. That would be very welcome. Perhaps you ought to invite Lieutenant General Cassius Bright to this too.
Oh, now that's a thought. He and I go back well over a decade.
Well, so much for us worming our way back into the conversation. Sorry, I was really hoping this would be a chance for all of us to de-stress. If it's any consolation, I myself am finding this to be a rather fascinating experience. You know, I'm always trails, but you think someone else you follow is playing them, but not just Nintendo. And you think Elroy said something at Daybreak 1 or 2. Meanwhile, Osborne, hippity hoppity, you guys are now my property. Shortly thereafter, a number of calls from the presidential office came in. Graham Hart and a security team had to put an end to their short break.
You have my apologies for cutting our little chat short. In the meantime, please, make yourselves at home.
So, once again, I'm going to reference Trails of Cold Steel 3 a lot because I just got done watching it, you know, a week or two ago. And, I feel like this scene right here was supposed to be, you know, like normal Trails story structure goes. They sometimes put in these scenes that are supposed to give you an inkling of what's going on, but like because of how most of the game is falling back on mowing the lawn, they give you these little like morsels of information of, you know, hey, something's gonna happen in the future. And I feel like this scene was supposed to do that, but it didn't feel natural at all. And probably because, you know, they skipped all the beginning conversation and went straight to, you know, hey, let's talk about your space program. But yeah, I don't know. Just didn't feel good.
We don't keep confidential documents here, so you're welcome to look around all you like.
So you're saying we can steal your towels? How magnanimous of you, Mr. Prez. Still, this really is a nice place you got here. I hear you even did the renovations on it yourself. There's no way. The Secret Service. Oh, he did the renovations, and then the Secret Service came in, and they're like, nah. We got this.
That I did. I performed them shortly after I got married. We bought the house through a certain connection I had at the time. If I recall correctly, I believe it was built around 70 years ago now.
Oh wow, I certainly wouldn't have guessed that. But this place would make for a great filming location.
Well then, Agnes, I'll leave the rest to you.
What was that?
Now, I know you only just finished your finals, but try not to overexert yourself. You won't be able to help your group if you burn yourself out.
Come on, Dad. I know. And I expect you to lead by example on that front. Oh, and, I want you to know I'll be rooting for you. With your project and everything, I mean.
Of course. Thank you, Agnes.
Okay then, I'll get started on lunch. Please give me a little bit to get it ready. Like my dad said, you're free to look around the house as much as you like. Really, you mean it? Yay. Let's go. First stop, Agnes's room. Oh, on second thought, she'd probably be uncomfortable with me going into her bedroom. You want to see it too, Kedra? I really don't mind showing you if you do. As I mentioned earlier, I'd be more than happy to assist in preparing everyone's lunches. While you do that, I'm just gonna hang out here. Whoa, they left the dog behind. Oh, I'm sure security will be back later to take him to the official residence. Aaron, why do I hear glass clinking over there? Time to get into that wine cabinet. Okay then, don't have a ton of time on our hands, but we can take a quick look around. Still can't believe this place is 70 years old. If I know my history, that date the house back to the time of the Third Republic. The house being 70 years old is not important. Why are we talking about this? Why was it even mentioned? Really makes you wonder who built it back then. I don't think anybody cares. Belongs to the president now. That painting is the same as that painting. First room I walk into and you've already failed. These ingredients should suffice for the menu in mind. I must say, though, the pantry is punctiliously never seen that word before. Punctiliously stocked, despite the both of you often being absent. Oh well, it all ends up being things with a long shelf life anyway. Oh, so you're serving us a bunch of food with preservatives in them too? We could have gotten restaurant quality food. I come back 2 or 3 times a month to clean, cook, and treat the security personnel to a meal. Occasionally, I'll make some extra to leave behind, which my father does seem to eat when he returns. Really now? I knew he had a soft spot for his little girl, no matter how much he tries to act otherwise. That's a little debatable. He definitely has a particular fondness for my sandwiches and stews, though. I think it's fair to say I've succeeded in recreating the way my mother's tasted. Miss Claudel. Well, going by the ones you sometimes make at the office, I can say for a fact that they're both delicious. They say a kitchen reflects the family who lives there. This one feels tidy, yet lived in at the same time. Says a lot about the woman your mom was. Indeed, even the sink and kitchen utensils appear to be meticulously maintained. Well, it's been 5 years since she passed, but those parts of her might have rubbed off on me. I just try to do things the way I remember she did, though it wasn't without plenty of setbacks in the beginning. I'd even forced my father to eat the stews I'd burnt. Hey, any dad worth his salt would be more than happy to gulp it down. I don't know about that. Yes, without a doubt, it was likely the same for myself. The heck does that mean? You're a robot, Rosette. What are you talking about? Well, at any rate, Van, this'll take us a tiny bit longer. My success rate with these dishes is guaranteed, so just sit tight and they'll be out in a jiffy. Given that this is likely a larger party than Miss Claudel is accustomed to serving, I shall handle the ingredient and spice measurements. What? Has she not served sandwiches to Arkwright Solutions in its entirety before? Ooh, that is a spoiler. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that spider. It's so tiny. Figure something out later. Sounds good. My mouth's watering already. He's playing with the dog. The double dog. Wait, we brought Zeros with us? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Come on, y'all. In the same room? I can see them both on the screen. Gotta be kidding me. See a lot of weeds in here. Very interesting how they do the reflections here. Are you talking about that grayed out? What grayed out? Oh no, I'm talking about these paintings. This painting and this painting are the exact same thing. This is a thing I do for Trails games, but you know, other games too, on occasion. I look to see if they differentiate the paintings. And you know what? Sometimes they do, but rarely. Rarely is it consistent. Took it from the Madarame exhibit. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Real sight to see, huh? They say Agnes's mom used to take care of it. Miss Sophie Gramhart, otherwise known as the granddaughter of the famed Professor Epstein. This garden looks to have been carefully tended to, but I warrant it was another person altogether who first put it together. The arrangements of the flower beds, the selection of the herbs, they bring to mind the traditional designs of the Middle Ages. Someone I was once indebted to had much the same predilections. Oh yeah? Was once. Must be a reason it's past tense. Gramhart said this place was built around 70 years back. That's smack dab in the middle of the Third Republic. And Levre district was one of the residential areas they set up at the time. Meaning the original occupant was an individual of great significance, more likely than not. That house's construction is more modest than luxurious. Speaks to their upright character. There is a story, I imagine, as to how Mr. Gramhart came to assume ownership over it. Yeah, no way there wouldn't be. I'm just imagining things, or does this feel nostalgic somehow? And this ain't the first time it's happened either. Also, fun fact, Rosette has the same voice actress as Aegis from Persona 3 Reloaded. Just notice there's a shadow behind the models when they appear in a text box. Oh, I haven't been looking at that. What are you doing to this dog? Well, yeah, you wanna go, huh? About some of this then. Let's see you survive my scritchy, scratchy technique. Man, I picked up the signs, but you sure are one heck of a dog person, huh? More or less. Same went for my mom, but we had to give up on getting one with how small the room we rented was. But to make up for it, we'd tour our way through the 1st Ward to the 7th on a pup patting spree 7 days a week. Talk about overkill. It's a miracle you didn't rub him bald. Hey, wait your turn, pet napper. This guy's what, 7 years old? Just because you're both middle-aged doesn't give you the right. I'm still in my 20s, darn it. Alphonse here sure is friendly with people, though. Only natural with Agnes. But he seems pretty attached to the president, too. Well, I mean, it's the president's dog. What do you expect? Oh, you could just treat them like any old dog. Fun fact, the sunbathing's actually their means of converting solar energy into power. Is that right? Pardon my rudeness. I should have known better after Mr. Kincaid's briefing. Zeros, was it? A pleasure to formally meet. The President and his aide have already notified me about you all. I will be bringing Alphonse back to the official residence in due time. Till then, you and the young miss are welcome to enjoy your stay. Is there any circumstance where you're just like, no, Agnes, you can't come into the building that is your house. Security forbids it. Sure, keep up the good work. Dear Mr. President, tell me what to do. These suckers acting up in the hood, send more troops. I don't see a license plate on the front. Cops gonna get you. Unless that's not a thing. And well, no, this is supposed to be modeled after the United States, right? Days gone by. Now this is a good one. Affirmative. Its metric and tonal patterns evoke feelings of comfort. Come on, guys. You can't just go putting records on in other people's houses. As you, the president gave us the okay to make ourselves at home, so I'm taking him up on that. Yeah, this is why you never say to anybody, make yourself at home, because you're just telling them to do whatever it is they do at home here, and you might not like the results of that. His ear is real refined, though. This library's got everything from classics to chansons. There even happened to be a decent collection of Grammys albums. Chansonnier extraordinaire, Dominique Lanster, eh? Go figure. Whoa, Amber Turtle. He has my favorite jazz number, too. Well, this is awkward. Between this and saunas, we've got more than a few hobbies in common. Didn't he invite you to a private session at the end of our big case last spring? In his book, you're probably the bad apple seducing his precious daughter astray. Don't even start. How many times do I gotta spell that out? Spell out that I'm the one getting barged in on here. Now playing next song, Autumn Knows. I know it's nothing new by now, but Fio really is something else. 1000%. And they've got good taste on top of that. Okay. There's so many doors in this house. Those are upstairs. I've seen this painting already, too. Come on now. It's right there. It's also right there. So that's probably Anya's room. There's nobody in this room. Looks like the Prez's private study. He did basically tell us what's his is ours, but this might be pushing it. Are those? We'll just take a little self-guided tour for future ref. L Motors, huh? Pretty sure it's a magazine for gearheads. Guess the Prez likes orbital cars too. Who would have guessed we'd have that in common? Look at this photo. This is a nice photo, or painting rather. See if we can identify who's on these photos. Okay. So we've got... I don't know what's going on. Okay, so far right. Honestly, far right can't be Roy. That's gotta be like, I don't know, whatever. We'll get close-ups here. Could almost call this a trail of memories between the Gramharts and Claudells. Oh, that's right. There's Claudells and there's Gramharts. Ain't as much of a family man as Victor, but a part of me does long for one myself. Must be the Prez in his school days. Guy was handsome even back then. Woman on the left is probably Lilia Claudel, Professor Epstein's adopted daughter. Makes the girl in the middle Sophie Claudel. Who the heck is Sophie? Or who is who? They say he was in the military before getting into politics. Seems he and the Claudells were basically family. Lilia had already passed by the time Anya's was born, though I think. Anya's is around 12 here, maybe, and the president looks no different than he does now. Just look at those 3 smiling faces. Can't have been too long after this that her mom... Oh, Van, so this is where you went. Yeah, sorry for treading off the beaten path. Not at all, take your time. If any books catch your interest, feel free to borrow them. There should be plenty geared toward car enthusiasts, sauna buffs, and other hobbyists. Now I'm imposing enough already. A lineup like this could really hook a guy in, though. I'd imagine so. The way my father used to hole himself up in here and read the days away. Everything's just been gathering dust the past few years, now that he's always out. It's honestly kind of a shame. He's still so young there, isn't he? Yeah, kind of ticks me off that he's been such a looker from then all the way till now. Still, I appreciate the chance to actually see your mom and grandma's faces. I suppose I'd only ever really mentioned their names up till now, thinking back. Pictures are all I know of my grandmother. Still, everybody looks so happy in both of these. Hey, same could be said for the one you're in. Have to admit, though, the Claudel genes are a scary thing. I mean, sure, your hairstyles and overall vibes differ. But going by facial features alone, you 3 ladies are practically carbon copies. You don't want to say that. You think so? I'd say we couldn't be further apart personality-wise. Alright, we're still in the middle of making lunch. I just came to ask if you'd mind us adding Diablo sauce to the sandwiches. Yeah, I think we would mind. After receiving Van's response that he was all for the Diablo sauce, Agnes busily vacated the study. El Diablo, also the Diablo. I feel a sneeze coming on. Room is huge. Well, this is Agnes's room, huh? Isn't it nice in here? So warm, so calming. Plus it gives off this breath of fluffy, flowery air that has Agnes written all over it. I think I get what you mean. I can definitely tell that she spent a lot of time in here. And just what's got you wrapped up, poring over an older girl's private books? Wait, I'm 16 now. That makes Agnes and me the same age. Fair point. But in 3 days, she'll be back to being older. Ooh, he's got you there. True enough. I know it's something to celebrate, but getting left behind again isn't the greatest feeling. At any rate, whatever apprehension I had flew right away the second I laid eyes on these. The Professor Claude Epstein's diaries. That's so. Agnes always keeps the final volume on her, so these must be the rest. You can really tell her great-grandfather was a great grand scholar, too. He'd certainly need to have been to create the octogeneses. Right, there are records here of how they were utilized in experimental observations for the invention of orbments. There's a lot to be learned from these writings, and what's more, they'd also describe his values as a scientist and technician. Each and every word holds a wealth of meaning. I can see how Agnes got so engrossed. You don't say. I'd only ever leaped through the last of the bunch, so... Not much of a book reader. Let's see. Stuff about his research, stuff about his family and assistants. Oh hey, this bit touches on the geopolitics of the time. Even has his personal analysis of Calvard. Communication lines barely existed back then, so how he'd managed to put this many pieces together all the way in Le Mans. Incredible, isn't it? He talks quite a lot about Gran in them too. Publishing even a portion of these would make for an instant bestseller, don't you think? Wait, isn't this? What's up? Did you find an interesting entry? More that this name feels like one I've heard somewhere before. Does Herschel ring a bell? Herschel, that's... Maybe have a look. It's a tower heist. Afterward, the group shared a handful of findings and surprises held in Epstein's diaries. Catra then returned straight back to reading them, whereas Fairy found herself drawn to Agnes's picture book collection, eyes a twinkle. I think that's enough exploring for now. Lunch will be ready soon, I bet. Might as well offer to help make some coffee. I wanted to look at the pictures. Okay, just her dog. And some school pictures. Painting seems kind of nice. Let's see. I want to judge the feng shui. Mostly, I think I just have, like, everything is against the wall, and that has to be an issue. I mean, like, obviously there's a couple of things not against the wall, but like everything's against the wall. Probably should have marked to be on the safe side, but we'll find a fade to black. The date she put on her resume was July 12th, 1192. That's 3 days from now. I've treated the others on their birthdays, so I ought to do the same for her. And then went to the kitchen to help make coffee and was subsequently asked for his opinions on matters such as the dessert offerings. After a short while, lunch was finally ready, and everyone sat down to enjoy the sandwiches Agnes and Rosette made. From leftovers, by the way. With food that can last for months. That's probably why it tastes so good. Got a bunch of chemicals in it. By the way, Agnes, I took a look at your great-grandfather's diaries. I was digging through your stuff. I only skimmed through them, and he didn't write too much about his research, but I was still thoroughly impressed by what I saw. He sounded like an insightful person. It's amazing to think Professor Hamilton was his mentee. Hearing all that makes me really happy. I'd heard before that he cared a lot for his family, and reading this makes that clear as day. You can tell just how much he loved your grandmother, Lila. Or Lilia, something like that. And the messages he left for the generations after hers to you and Sophie are really profound. He also held a great affinity for his 3 disciples. Naturally, he cared deeply for Professor Hamilton, but I can feel a sense of compassion and trust for the other 2 as well, despite their idiosyncrasies. Professor Russell from LaBurle is one of those 3 disciples, right? The fact that old Epstein predicted he'd go on to invent the airship is pretty darn wild. Not only that, but he also wrote about the possibility of Professor Schmidt coming up with the railway system. Almost like he could see the future or something. Or maybe his disciples were like, hey, take a look at these drawings. I'd like to invent something like this, to improve the stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, that would be great. Let me just write about these in my journals. There's little way of knowing, one way or another, if he could. One thing's for certain, however, he was an incredibly perceptive man. I don't know if I feel like I made the prediction that Epstein is alive somewhere. And the most likely place for him to exist is Ouroboros. I think there's still a couple of Anguisses that we still don't know about. There's Oathbreaker. There's Mariabelle. And I guess Mariabelle is just replacing Vita. Let's see. Who else am I forgetting? Gosh. The Anguis. You don't get to see the Anguis as much as you would like. Aryan Road was one. I feel like I believe there's 7 Anguis, and I think we've seen like at least 4, probably 5. But for whatever reason, I can't think of their names. He predicted the emergence of, the Professor Novartis, he's one of them. He predicted the emergence of artificial intelligence and the technological singularity, even which has become quite the hot button issue. Very true. I could definitely understand why my mother and grandmother chose to hide his diaries. In a way, he was too far ahead of his time, so much so that he may have impeded on the potential of those who came after him. Yeah, it might be part of why he never shared them with anyone, including the Epstein Foundation. But I'm sure the main reason ties back to his last words about gathering the Genesis. The Genesis before 120X. Else all that we know will come to an end. Hold up, so your great-grandpa used these things, these observational devices, back when he established Orbital Tech, which means he had them at the time, but then at some point they were lost or stolen. I didn't get a chance to pore over every detail in the diaries, but I didn't see anything written about that. Crazy as this sounds, is it possible he knew that they'd go missing after his death? Yes, I'd say so. In fact, that's a definite possibility, especially when you consider what Dingo said to us back in April.
That weakness is humanity's original sin, one that the 8th Genesis was built to observe with vigilance. Its ceaseless observation persists. It has yet to truly be brought to an end. The forced reset is a byproduct of the octogenesis. It is a retry method that can only be performed so many times. Its purpose is to achieve the desired observational outcome. Very soon, the other possibilities that were archived from past resets will be designated as the final observational outcome.
Oh yeah, that's what he said, sure enough. Though I didn't hear these words directly from the horse's mouth, they sound no less disconcerting, even now. I can only surmise that these devices, including this 8th Genesis, which observes humanity's sin, are designed to carry out some function once all 8 are brought together. Yes, I've come to much the same conclusion. However, I cannot help but wonder if there was some reason they were spread all over Calvard prior to our having gathered them. Considering his use of the word observation, perhaps some sort of process was being carried out by necessity. The whole thing is all kinds of confusing. But would that mean there was an observational reason behind Almada stealing and using them too? But no, that's impossible. Much as it pisses me off to say, it isn't. Could be that them turning me into the tyrant of 40 years ago was all so they could observe the dark side of humanity. Yeah, same could be said of Pandemonium, which was brought about by the 7th. Might even be trying to observe the diabolic core I had inside me. I think it's safe to say my great-grandfather must have had some purpose for all this. I forgot forgot Van was a demon lord. Maybe he made the Genesis to bring out the ugly side of humanity and observe it. Could be there was some outcome he'd hoped to achieve. If that's true then, regardless of his reasons, it's possible he wasn't the good, upstanding man I thought him to be. Anyas. Honestly, he sounds like most engineers and academics I know. We're all driven to test our hypotheses. That's right, regardless of what kind of man your great-grandfather was, it was his diaries that got you to this point. Are you prepared to see this thing through, accepting the good, the bad, and whatever he was expecting to find out? Because if you are, then we will be right there by your side until you get there. Van. That's right, we'll be with you to the end, ride or die. I don't know about die. You know, we'll ride, and if there's a risk of dying, then, you know, you're on your own. Indeed, that goes without saying. Don't stress. We'll always be in your corner, no matter what kind of person your great-grandpa was. Can't be much worse than our resident sugar junkie who gets his kicks from eating sweets in a sauna. Hey, I've never done that in my life. Sweets are sweets and saunas are saunas, and never the twain shall meet. Wait, don't they cook sausages and roast marshmallows at the saunas in Remiferia? Plus, there's such a thing as stone cookware, you know. Whoa, pump the brakes. I don't want to know this. It's hard enough to fight off those urges. Spoken like a true sugar junkie. Well, at least his addiction isn't so far gone as to be detrimental to his health, yet. We should devise a plan to rehabilitate him before it grows out of control. Oh yeah, there was something else I noticed about the diaries. When I was flipping through them a minute ago, I saw the name Herschel. Oh, so you noticed that too, huh? Isn't that the name of your teacher? Yes, that's right. That's Miss Tawa's last name. It's a Tawa heist. There was a famous astronomer from the Empire named Alfred Herschel. I've read several of his works. There's a good chance he's the person Professor Epstein was referring to. Of that, I have no doubt. Mr. Herschel was the dean of the Imperial Academy, the foremost academic institution of the Erebonian Empire. He passed 10 years ago, but I heard that from an early age he traveled the world to help expand its base of knowledge. We only crossed paths a few times, but I'm certain that he was Miss Herschel's grandfather. Fascinating. Didn't realize he was an acquaintance of yours, Master. Next time we bump into Miss Herschel, we should ask about him. Never know what kind of stories he might have passed on. Even if they're not about the Genesees, it might be worth doing a little prodding. I hear she only came here because of her NGO work. Has she gone on back to Erebonia yet? We just saw her earlier today. No, she's still here. She was supposed to go back at the end of the last term like Ren and Julian. If you'd like, I can call her and...
Pardon me, young miss, but 2 of your friends from school are here to see you.
Why would...
Hey, Agnes! Oh, you really are home after all.
We saw that black robot dog out in the yard, but we didn't know for sure if you were here or not.
Odette? Albert?
These two suckers. You got president. You got vice president.
Sorry for dropping in out of the blue. We just wanted to come say hi, but we didn't know you had so much company. Blame Albert. He just wouldn't stop moaning and groaning. Ooh, I can't see Agnes at school for a few days. My life is over.
I never said that. But I won't deny I've missed you some since exams ended. Both you and Roy, the president, seemed pretty busy as of late.
You're on a first-name basis with the president? Albert?
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to worry you both.
Oh my gosh, as soon as I turn on auto. Wait, why are you two wearing your school uniforms? We have a little council-related trouble to take care of. Kind of trouble. Do you need help? Oh, we should be okay. It's just a handover meeting with a new school vendor, that's all. Ren will be helping us out with it too, so I think we can manage just fine. Can't keep depending on her for everything, you know. Otherwise, we'll never be able to grow out of her shadow. Why not go check it out? Between this morning's 4 SPGs and making us all lunch, I'd say you've more than done your part for today. But no buts. Work's important and all, but a healthy work-life balance is even more so. You want to help your go help your friends. Show Super Schoolgirl that you don't need no babysitter. I need to make up for lost working time from this morning, so I'll carry the load for both of us. It'll be less fun with you gone, but we'll soldier on. Let's wage this war on 2 fronts. Man, you guys. Hey, you don't have to go if you don't want to. Not that you wouldn't be a huge help, of course, but point being, no pressure. Can't these 2 handle anything on their own without going to Anya's or Ren for help? Sorry, we weren't trying to pull you away from your work. Oh, come on. You totally were. You ain't slick. Please don't worry about it. You didn't appoint me as your treasurer to slack off when I'm needed. Good luck with the rest of your workday, everyone. I should be able to meet back up with you all later this evening. Good deal. See you later. Very well, shall we depart for the Chardon district, everyone? I will make a note to contact you once we reach a stopping point this afternoon.
The train will be departing soon.
The next train is approaching. Please
Why did she
mind
change
the
into
gap
her
as
school
you board
uniform?
or depart.
Truly well done. I'll update your evaluation rank.
E+.
I'll be taking that.
Okay.
That's pretty good, I guess.
See? I know what's up.
I don't think you deserve it, Aaron, but alright. Mark.